presented by FanDuel. We saved the 3 games in the late Sunday window, including that big one on CBS, Eagles-Ravens. We also still haven't picked the Sunday night game, Niners-Bills, or the Monday night game, Browns-Broncos. Let's start with the game on CBS. It's the Eagles and Ravens. Baltimore favored by 2.5 at home. This is the best game of the week here, Pete, and we've got it.
It's a great game. I can't wait for this. You got a team. Both teams can run the ball. They're going to both try and run the ball. It's like which running back is going to do it better, and can anybody stop it? And the Ravens have been really good against the run. That's one thing they've done really well on defense. I think they'll be able to slow down Barkley. I think Lamar Jackson will get on the perimeter and create some plays with his legs. I'm going to take the Ravens because I think Jackson is better than Hurts, and that's the biggest difference in the game.
Unstoppable force meets an immovable object. That's going to be what's going to happen in the run game for both these teams. I love the Saquon Barkley pick in this game. So really, I'm going Eagles, and it's because of that offensive line. I know the Ravens have been absolute glass eaters against the run all year, but they're about to meet their match with this Philadelphia Eagles O-line. When they roll off the bus, there's nobody who has more confidence. There's not a coordinator who feels better about dialing up these runs, and there's not a running back more prone to hit a home run every single time than Saquon Barkley. That being said, I love the Eagles.
Love the Eagles. Okay, so that is the biggest spread of the week, the biggest total of the week, I should say. The only one that's over 50 points at 50.5. So a lot of points expected in that one, a lot of ground and pound in that one. Let's go to a game at 4:05 Eastern Time. It's the Rams, slight favorites in the Superdome against the Saints. How about the Rizzler? Darren Rizz, 2-0.
He's been great. He's been great. And you know what? I think this running game has been getting healthy on the offensive line a little bit has helped them over the course of the last 5-6 weeks. And I think that will be the thing that could keep them in this ball game. That being said, I love Matt Stafford. I love this offense, and there's nobody I trust more than Sean McVay for getting a game plan. You're going on the road. You're going to need a good one. Get those 2 receivers involved early. I love the Rams in this spot.
And by the way, the gimmick's been really good for the Saints lately. He's been putting up a lot of
50 fantasy points.
He's been outstanding. They've been using him in a variety of ways. I just think when you resort to that, that means you're a little bit desperate. And the Rams, like you said, with Stafford in that passing game, they can move the football. I don't love what the Saints do on the back end. I think this is a real chance for the Rams to get right. I'll take Sean McVay and the Rams on the road.
Okay, against a team from that NFC South, let's go right there to the Bucks and the Panthers. Hey, Panthers have won 2 of 3. Bryce Young coming off maybe his best game.
He was much better, much better. You got to give him credit where credit is due. He was much better against the Chiefs. There is progress there. That has to be encouraging. Now you got to stack games, and this is the Bucs are playing consecutive road games, which is never tough to do, but they're that much better. I love where the Bucs are heading. I think they're getting guys back on defense, so important. They've been banged up all year. You saw Kalijah Kancey last week was all over the place for them. He was hurt early in the season. You're getting the corners back. That's big for them. This team is the best team in the division. They should have been the best team in the division all year, but they had so many injuries to overcome. They're getting there. They will show up in this one and really dominate.
Uphill battle, though, because they're a game back, and they lost both games already to the Falcons, so they're going to have to finish ahead of them in the standings. They will catch them.
I love the Buccaneers, too. I mean, you and I said this morning. I think that the Buccaneers are going to run the table here at the end of the year. Now, if there is one saving grace for the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales was where?
Tampa Bay.
He knows a little bit about that group. So he's going to be able to instill that confidence in Bryce Young, who's got the ball rolling downhill in a good way. That snowball effect could pick up. But you're going to compete against Baker Mayfield and what I think is one of the hottest offenses in the NFL right now. Tough to do that 3 weeks in a row and match that production. Give me the Buccaneers.
To Sunday Night Football and a game that on paper looked like one of the best of the season. But, man, the 49ers have just been killed with injuries. Last week, a shell of themselves in Green Bay. They got blown out. And at this point in the week, it's Tuesday. What do we know about anybody that could be returning for San Francisco?
We don't. I mean, we don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play. I mean, there's some talk that he might not play. And if he doesn't play, they have no chance. I mean, let's be real. There were some people that were questioning whether they should have went to Allen and maybe should have played Josh Dobbs. But it didn't matter last week. And here's the other thing. Without Nick Bosa, that defense is different. We saw it fall apart late in that game against Seattle. They didn't play well last week. Buffalo coming off a bye. they're ripe to go make a real push to become the #1 seed if they can in the AFC. I think they show up in a big way. I think this is all Bills all day, and it's going to be ugly.
I was so wrong about this Buffalo Bills team at the beginning of the year when we were asking about Super Bowl contenders and not. And I just thought that there was...
Who wasn't?
You. I know, buddy. I know. And I'm just here to admit that.
over there.
Well, I got nothing else right. I might as well take claim to that.
Josh Allen it's like watching LeBron James play. And I'm talking like 26-year-old LeBron James, because Josh Allen is just different than these guys. And even when they can't manufacture a run game, they've done such a great job protecting him. He can kill you with his arm. And more importantly and more dangerously, he kills you with his legs. So Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, I think they roll in this spot. Yeah, the number's not big enough.
The change in the offense has really helped Josh Allen because he hasn't been asked to do it all. He can, but he hasn't been asked to do that. Getting the ball out quick, making plays, making decisions before pre-snap decisions, not holding on to the football. There will be a time when he's going to have to revert to being Josh Allen again, and he can do it. That's the thing. It's always back there. He hasn't been forced to do it much, but he can do it. This team is, and they're getting healthier on defense. This is the team to watch. I really believe that. I said it before the season. The old window is closing. Everybody thought so. No way.
Who is Allen going to throw it to? Well, they went out and they got Amari Cooper.
They've only played one game together, that group. Kincaid, you know, with Amari Cooper and Coleman, they've only been together one game because of injuries. They're all coming back.
And this will be their first game since they knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs the last time out. Then they had that bye week, and now this against San Francisco. Monday Night Football, last game to pick here. It's the Browns at the Broncos. Broncos in playoff position. Browns, I mean, they beat the Steelers last time out in the snow. That was a week and a half ago.
At home, and you know they hate the Steelers, so they were amped up for it. Now you got to go back out on the road. I think this is a tough spot for Jameis Winston. That defense is playing so well for the Broncos. Lead the league in sacks, get after the quarterback. They will get to Jameis Winston, force a turnover or two. I'll take the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, we got to give him a tremendous amount of credit. He's gone out here in a tough spot and played exceptionally well, won some football games for this team, and he's going to be, you know, auditioning for his next gig, wherever that may be. But I still don't think it's enough. Bo Nix has been spectacular.
Is he the Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
Right
This Denver Broncos defense they have real teeth, man. They got real teeth. They got juice at the edge rush position. They get after the quarterback. So Jameis Winston, not only is he a threat to throw some interceptions, maybe some sack fumbles in this one. Give me the Broncos.
Just heard from producer Jack, if you really think Bo Nix is going to win this thing, jump on it, because you can get nearly 2-to-1 odds right now. He's plus 175. Jaden Daniels minus 230, still the favorite to win it.
Well, you pretty much looking at the schedule, you know the Broncos are going to be in the playoffs. You don't know that about the Commanders, and I think that could impact the way people vote.
All right. Let's head to best bets for the week. Best
we
bets.
have to?
Well, Pete, you're much better with best bets than you are with, you know, just your regular picks. You're 500 in that.
Yeah, you're just wiping my face in the dirt today,
well,
aren't
you walked right into it.
Oh my
Check it
God.
out. Look at Kyle on top 10-2. I'm not too bad.
Nice.
7-5. Pete 6-6, and the producers 4-8.
Pretty good on opposite day there.
Those poor guys and gals in the control room just can't figure it out. Look, you're 10-2. You're killing it. So Kyle, lead us off.
Well, I just think it's really tough to bet against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau at this time of the year, considering it's going to be a night game, midweek game. I think the fans do play a huge part in this thing, and we know historically how this Miami Dolphins team has performed when it gets into these cold weather games. I am rooting for Tua to have a great game, but I do think the Green Bay Packers roll at Lambeau.
I was thinking about that pick, by the way, but every time I pick a Thursday game and then we do our best bets on Sunday, I get so much crap from Todd and the gang, so I can't pick Thursday game. So I do like your pick. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans plus the points.
If I had to make another one, it would be Broncos, but this one's mine. Packers my best bet.
I'm going to take the Titans plus the points here. I think they have a real shot. You like them to win the game. I'm surprised you didn't take them as your best bet.
I know you love Will Levis.
Yeah, he's going to play well in this game. And I'm worried about the Commanders. They just have not looked right in the last 4 games.
You said what would your second one be?
Broncos.
That's mine. Broncos
Smart
minus
man.
5.5 against the Browns. The Broncos have shown that they can win and win big. I mean, they've had some blowout victories this season, back-to-back double-digit wins. Browns, I don't know, coming off that snow game against the Steelers, as you said. I like the Broncos to be able to win that.
The only thing that could ruin that for you is Myles Garrett. He could ruin that for you.
Crash the party there.
But
the
Sean
producers,
Payton's such a good play caller that I think he'll scheme away from him.
Producer pick this week, Jets plus 1.5 against the Seahawks.
I love the Jets this week. I'm stupid too, I guess, like the producers. We're all going to be 4-9.
You guys can't quit these Jets.
I just can't. I don't know what it is.
You need to go to a meeting.
I don't know what it is. By the way, I like all our picks, so that tells you should go. All 4 of these best bets, I love them. Love them all. Yep.
Kyle, you don't like that Jets pick, though.
We're getting better. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it.
Right. I think all 4 of these hit.
All 4?
Yep. I'm gonna have a good
That's Pete's best bet. So when they all hit, he gets those points, right?
Seahawks have a good defense.
By the way, Amanda hasn't shown up since she tried to do that teaser pick. Remember that? She tried to do the teaser.
Tried to do Tommy Teaser and it didn't work.
We haven't seen her in a month. What the hell's going on? Here they are. Kyle likes the Packers minus 3.5 against the Dolphins in the cold weather, shivering Tua. You know how it is, Pete, as a South Florida guy, going up north.
It was under 80 last week and I was cold.
It was.
I wore a vest today.
It was cold.
Those are our best bets this week. Good luck, FanDuel. And it is a full slate. Nobody's on a bye. Got 3 Thanksgiving games. We've got Chiefs-Raiders on Friday. Best game of the weekend is probably on CBS on Sunday. Eagles and Ravens. Woo! Here we go. Oh, God.
What a turkey.
What is that, 6 straight losing weeks for you?
I don't know. It's bad.
Stick together, Pete.
It's really bad.
We decided as a team we're not going to change your picture to the post-Ozempic one until you have a winning week. Kyle again.
That means you're not changing it, I don't think. 'Cause I have no grasp of this season at all. It's horrendous.
Kyle, 10-2 now in best bets. Pete, your best bets are 500.
Just keep picking the Lions.
That's
man.
right.
You took the easy strategy.
Just pick the Lions every week.
It's like Jamie's start of the week. Find the worst
You
defense.
picked the
against
best bet to fade. That was the Rams against the Eagles.
That was a terrible
Sometimes
bet.
you can't overthink it. You know?
I agree. I overthink it, and look at what my record is.
That's Pete Prisco, Kyle Long. I'm Chris Hassel. Let's start with the Thanksgiving opener on CBS. It's Bears and Lions. Detroit, their best record entering Thanksgiving since Pete's first Thanksgiving in 1934.
Yeah, and I remember that well because I was a year old, and you know how people remember their first Thanksgivings when they're a year old. Inside joke there.
Yeah.
By the way, I like the Bears in this spot. I think the number's too bloated. I love what I saw from Caleb Williams the other day. It was a growing moment. They didn't win the game, but he brought him back. And those are the kind of moments you need when you're a young quarterback. I think the Lions aren't great on pass defense. I think there's going to be opportunities for him to stay in this game. They won't stop the Lions. The Lions will get their points because that big physical offensive line will maul people and they will run the football. But I think this is going to be one of those games where Caleb Williams plays well enough to keep him in the game. I'll take the 10.5.
Caleb Williams is going to play great. This is what I want. I want Caleb Williams to play well enough to be impressed with Thomas Brown, continue to have that rapport. But I think the Lions cover the number, man. I'm not getting in the way of this train.
With them.
I'm not getting in the way of this train, man. I've done so much for Chicago as a player that I don't even feel bad about making this pick. I like the Lions in this spot.
That 1934 season, by the way, the last time the Lions won 10 straight games, what they will be attempting to do this Thursday, though they have lost 7 straight Thanksgiving games, which is a
dude, it's a new leaf. It's a new leaf.
We thought that last year, too,
right.
and they still got beat. Let's go to the team that's dragging Thanksgiving down year in and year out, those Dallas Cowboys. This is the lowest total of the week. It's 37.5. It's Tommy DeVito and Cooper Rush.
Excited about that?
Not really.
How many people will be sleeping from 4 o'clock when you think about this game? But you know what? The Cowboys still have life.
Yep.
It sounds crazy, but they do. They win this game. They're at 5-7. They're smack dab in the middle of the race. The Giants, look, they were terrible last week. I don't think Tommy DeVito's coming to the rescue of this team. You have guys starting to say things after the game. Yep. I think they're half booked their trips already. They're done. I think the Cowboys find a way, even though they've been bad at home, they find a way to win this game and cover the number.
Yeah, it was Tommy DeVito's comments that struck me as a bit odd. You know, this team is practicing like we're undefeated. We just don't have the right practice habits. You hear Malik Neighbors in the locker room post-game. They just didn't look great. They got absolutely ran through by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I expect this Cowboys team to understand that the football world's going to be watching. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, they're not out of it yet. So go at home on Thanksgiving and put a good show out there. I'm gonna be rolling with the Cowboys.
Pete, were you offended by Baker Mayfield when he was doing this thing? And I'm 33% Sicilian. I was a little offended.
I was offended too.
You were too.
Yeah.
Okay,
you were?
So Pete, you're 100% paisano.
Yeah, it's not offensive. Not offensive. It was an honor.
An honor? Right.
You're bowing down to the Italian community.
Demonstrative.
It was uppercase.
It was.
Sure. Great. I don't mind it. And I would tell Baker that. I said I liked it.
I know. You love Baker Mayfield. Let's go to Thursday night, which should be the best game of Thanksgiving. It's the Dolphins out in the cold in Green Bay against the Packers. Miami clawing their way back. They're going for a 4th straight win. That would get them back to 500.
This is Packer weather, baby.
Yeah, it is.
This is why people talk about Lambeau Field and how tough it is to play in the NFC North. And when you come from out of the NFC North in November to Lambeau Field, it is a really, really harsh introduction. And I heard Tua Tagovailoa talk about rewriting narratives. Well, you get an opportunity to do it this week. My only thing would be, don't say that. Just go do it. Just go do it. You guys have been awesome. The Dolphins have been awesome. Steelers playing great. Defense is awesome. Chop Robinson, you're talking about. But you got to go do it in the cold. That's a tough ask. I'm going to roll with the Packers.
The fact that he said it says it's in his head.
Yeah.
And it's in the team's head. Until you do it, it's going to be in their head. And they're thinking about it. So a major advantage, major advantage. Short week, travel out, cold weather, good team. That's a real problem for Miami. And again, I go back to what I say all along. Is Miami tough? And this is one of those games where you have to prove you're tough. Go there and be a physical team and prove you can beat this team, or else there's going to be doubts about that. So, but I think the Packers still have not found their way yet. We see little things like there was a miss of the Christian Watson drop last week. That's a touchdown.
Yeah.
That game's over at that spot. Little things just being off. I think they find it in this game. I think they get it going.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. We didn't even say the name Josh Jacobs.
He's been
This guy's
phenomenal.
an absolute animal.
Another running back, Pete, that's rejuvenating his career elsewhere.
You get a year here,
it's
year
the return of the back.
No, return of the back.
RB.
Oh, you like that?
I do. By the way, the temperature in Green Bay
22?
Thursday night, yeah, it'll be mid-20s or so.
They're going to be playing that song. I just want to bang on your drum all day.
You've
Those
heard that a few
people are
times,
so
haven't you?
happy when it gets cold.
It's not pleasant.
Let's go to the Friday game. It's Raiders and Chiefs, and it's a huge spread. This is the biggest spread of the week, though I should remind people. Patrick Mahomes has lost 5 straight against the spread. It's his longest skid in his career. This is a big number.
And the Raiders beat them up last year in Kansas City, remember?
That's right.
Yeah, they did. They beat them up. But this Raiders version, this team isn't beating up anybody.
I don't know. They got Gardner Minshew's hurt, so it might be Aiden O'Connell, who I think you like more than Minshew.
It'll be Ritter.
You think so?
Is it going to be O'Connell?
I think it's O'Onnell. Well,
I was hoping
at least look, we're doing this on Tuesday.
Right,
so.
it's on Tuesday, but they were hoping. I was hoping they'd play Ritter just to give an opportunity. They know what you got in Aiden O'Connell. I mean, but look, bottom line, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback. This team is very good on offense, and I think the Chiefs have had so many close calls that I think they're going to push this one to the side and say no more of them.
I feel like we thought that last week, though, coming off the loss, going to Carolina, and then they screwed around, almost lost that game, too.
Hey, look, I'm a time traveler. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah?
The Raiders are going to go out there pregame and do something so idiotic like stomp on the logo, flip off Patrick Mahomes, do the Kermit voice, something stupid enough to piss this Chiefs team off in this divisional rivalry. Chiefs roll. Chiefs.
Although Max Crosby, man, that guy all day long, it doesn't matter who he's playing, he plays hard, he chases down plays.
He's going to have Trey Smith looking at him while Trey's blocking his guy.
I mean, he was outstanding last week even.
All right, so we slate, you see the CBS games. We have 4 of them, including the Steelers at the Bengals. Chris Hassel joined by Kyle Long and Pete Prisco. Steelers coming off that loss in the snow to the Browns last Thursday. So they've had to sit on that for a while, and now slight underdogs in Cincy, Pete.
Yeah, and there's a reason they're slight underdogs in Cincy. Joe Burrow, the guy's playing out of his mind, and it's sad that they're in the situation they're in because this would be one of the most dangerous teams in the postseason. I think they still have a chance to get there. They can get hot. I didn't like what I saw from the Steelers last week. You know, you go inside the Steelers' numbers and you think, oh, they're a physical team. They run the ball. They don't run the ball that well. They get after the quarterback. They don't sack the quarterback that well. They're just a well-coached football team who's put themselves in this position. But I think this is a tough spot for them. I'm going to take Joe Burrow and the Bengals here.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow and the Bengals as well. I just feel like it's been such a waste. It's such a shame to see what has transpired for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. And then on the other side, the Steelers. I just kind of think it's been fool's gold. I know they're a tough team. I know that Tomlin's a great coach. But at the end of the day, what do we say about this team? They're good at being above average. They're well coached. And at the end of the day, they're going to be outmatched by a country mile at the quarterback position.
You just did me a big favor. What did you say they were?
Well coached?
No, fool's gold?
Fool's gold.
Okay, Steeler fans, get off my back. He said that. They're on me like you wouldn't believe. So
Hey,
that's
look,
real.
I mean, when you have to rely on a guy like Pickens, who I've said time and time again is probably the most talented guy on the football field, but he goes in and out of being mentally invested in the football game, I have questions about relying on you week to week. Joe Burrow, you can set your watch to that.
I'm
dude.
with you, by the way, but there is a site that takes clips off of this show and puts them out for all the Steelers fans, so you're going to get
Really?
Here we go.
Is that BMAC's burner account or
It
something?
probably
Working
is.
on that?
B-Mac.
He never looks at me when he's in the studio. I think that's it.
Let's go to Chargers and Falcons. Also 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. Falcons have lost 2 straight. They haven't played since they got embarrassed in Denver a couple of weeks ago.
And that was bad, and it was bad the week before, too. Offensively, they're supposed to be a good offense. They haven't been the same offense, and that's concerning to me because they're not dominant on defense. I think the Chargers, short week, this is a tough turnaround for the Chargers, but they're the better team. And I think we're going to see that. They're going to go there, and they're going to score a bunch of points. I'll take Justin Herbert in this game.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, they want to get this taste out of their mouth as soon as they can. Not only do I think the Chargers win, I think Quentin Johnston has a big part in this offense.
Wow.
You and I talked about it earlier in the day. I said,
him the ball.
if I'm the OC in the first 15 plays, I need at least 4 to 5 plays, easy gimmies to get in Quentin Johnston's hand, get him involved in the offense. Gosh, so close to beating the Ravens last night.
So the Chargers is the pick for both teams.
Both of us. Yeah, Chargers.
He's bad this week because he copied a lot of my picks.
You watched me pick, Pete.
I know, but
you
I'm bad.
saw that we have a system.
No, but it's bad for you that you have a lot of the same picks.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah, Pete hasn't had a winning week since, I think, September.
We get different here at the end.
A couple weeks ago.
We get different.
I don't know. That's not what I heard. Let's go to Titans Commanders. Commanders slipping. They've dropped 3 straight, and they're only a half game up on that last wild card spot in the NFC, Pete.
Will Levis is playing good football. Look, nobody
He's back.
He is back.
Back on the Levis bandwagon.
And he made a terrible throw last week for a pick 6. Awful. But the rest of that game, he was phenomenal. Then they fell behind, and he scored a touchdown to go win it. He outplayed C.J. Stroud last week. Will Levis, in the last couple of weeks, has been really good. I think he's going to play well here. I think they hang around. I don't know if they win the game, but I think they hang around. I'll take the points.
Will Levis, man, so much fun to watch. He's on that short list of guys like a George Pickens, where you can't take your eye off the guy.
I'm so
when he's
sick of
playing
that
football.
Mayo commercial.
And he also he's due for one every single game. So when he goes out there and he plays a spectacular brand of quarterback, and they have these long explosive plays, and he's out there playing hero ball, you know one's coming. But when you're talking about the Commanders, they're without Brian Robinson Jr., so I take a couple points off the board there. Their kicking game was hideous last week. Not only the kicker, but the operation, the long snapper, the holder. You guys are killing this kicker. Kill the whole room there, okay? Get after all those guys.
Well, we killed special teams today, so
we did on the pod. But I'm going to be taking the Titans in this one as well. Will Levis is awesome. It's just like root for Will.
He got sacked 8 times in the first half last week. 8. And I went back and looked at it. 2 of them were because he held the ball. The rest of them, he was just brutalized. The guys aren't open.
Do the Titans win this game outright?
They can.
Yes.
Wow. Bold prediction.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay.
You saw the way they handled business at home last week, bro.
Man,
come on.
And that would be a 4 straight loss for the Commanders if that happens. Let's go to the Colts at the Patriots. Kind of what we expected from Anthony Richardson after that breakout performance. Comes crashing down to earth against the best team in the league right now, the Lions.
Well, he wasn't awful. And there were things you looked inside the game that he has made progress. And, like, he's going through his progressions. He's standing in there and not getting out of there quick like he did early in the season. So there is progress. But I think that will continue here. Look, the Patriots last week were a disaster across the board. That's 2 weeks in a row. They've had major problems on defense, stopping the pass. I think they go in there. I think the Colts find a way to win the game.
If they can find a way to even have some sort of semblance of protection for Drake May, I love the Patriots in this spot because when you go on the road, particularly late in the season, to a place like New England, regardless of what the quality of the opponent is, you're going to be playing against that environment. Right. You're going to be playing against the conditions. You're going to be playing against the turf that they play on there as well. And there's something about that New England turf. It's just a little bit harder. They talk about MetLife being a crappy surface. There's something about New England that I just hate going up there to play. When you hit the turf, it's even harder. I like the Patriots in this one. Just pure home field advantage pick.
Plus, it's dark by 3:30 in the afternoon.
God. Oh, man.
They're shooting muskets off. Come on, man.
You're not kidding, Pete. I've lived in New England for almost 5 years. It's brutal.
It's
how
3:30
early
in the
sun sets
afternoon.
there this
Time for
of
dinner.
year.
It's dark again.
Oh, it's nice down here in South Florida for the time being. Texans, Jags. Kind of a theme for this window is first place teams that are struggling. You know, the Steelers coming off that loss, you're worried about the quarterback position. You have the Falcons, they've lost 2 straight, and now the Texans, they've lost 3 of 4.
And they are not playing good football. There's a lot of things at play here. The protection's been bad. C.J. Stroud's been sped up. Defensively, they had bust all over the place last week. It was not a good performance, and there's concern about them. But having said that, I think it's 8 of 9 in Jacksonville that they've won. 8 of 9 at that place. And Jacksonville's coming off a bye. They're talking about making changes. What changes are you making? What are you doing? Is Doug Peterson going to take over play calling? What are you going to do? You're going to get rid of the defensive coordinator? No. You didn't fire anybody. Nothing's changing. They're not very good. I think the Texans go in there and right things. I'll take the Texans.
You know what, Pete, you and I talk about having siblings a lot. And we're lucky to have had siblings growing up, because sometimes you go to school, you have a bad week of school. That's kind of like the Texans. They've had a bad couple weeks, but they get to come home for holiday break and smack their little brother around. I think that's why I'm going to pick the Houston Texans in this one. A lot going on in Jacksonville, a lot going on in Houston, but I trust that group in Houston more. Well coached on both sides of the ball. Although there's been question marks about Bobby Slowick, C.J. Stroud, that offense, I still like the Texans in this spot.
By the way, Jacksonville, lose them all, so you get the #1 overall pick. You don't want the pick. You can trade the pick and get assets and draft big guys, offensive linemen and defensive linemen.
Right in position for that number
they'd
1
have the
pick.
#1 pick right now.
Let's go to the Vikings, finally back home after those 3 straight road games. They won them all, and now facing a Cardinals team that's tied for first in that division, but coming off a loss.
Consecutive road games for the Cardinals, and this is a sandwich game. You had Seattle, up at Seattle. You come here, play this game, then you have Seattle at home next week. Classic sandwich game in the outside of division. Vikings being home after 3 weeks on the road, they're going to play well. Murray was bad last week. The Seattle threw a lot of different stuff at him, and he kind of didn't respond to it. The Vikings will throw a lot of different stuff at him as well. I'll take the Vikings in this spot.
I don't expect them to be bad 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to pick the Cardinals. This is probably the pick that I feel worst about. This is the one where I could see it going either way. But as I said on Pushing the Pile, I'm not completely sold on this Vikings team. And we're past a dozen weeks in the season now. So that ain't good if I'm not sold in the first.
They keep winning.
They keep winning.
But we've seen this out of the Vikings before. They've had seasons where they win 13 games.
I think it was 2016. They were like, 8-0, and
but
then
they went to Jacksonville,
could
have lost that game. Went to Tennessee, could have lost that game, and then last week against Chicago, could have lost that game.
You can say the same thing about the Chiefs.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Right.
100%.
Who do you trust more, Pat Mahomes or Sam Darnold?
Quarterback scales, Pete?
Yeah, oh, boom.
That being said, I got the Cardinals.
Okay, let's go to the team that beat the Cardinals and is now tied with the Cardinals atop the NFC West. It's the Seahawks on the road against the Jets, coming off the bye week and the 5 general manager.
Well, for the exact same reasons I just laid out for the Cardinals, I'm going to lay them out for Seattle. Beat the Cardinals. Now long trip to play a Jets, sandwich game, back home. Next week you got to go to Arizona and play the Cardinals. So in that scenario, I think it's hard to stay focused on an out-of-division game. The Jets have been awful, but I do think that they'll find a way to play well enough. Maybe they'll actually tackle in this game and try in this game, and I think they will. I think they find a way. I'll take the Jets.
If I have any inkling that you're not 100% committed to making tackles, 100% committed to your job, the preparation, I'm not going to pick you anymore. And the Seahawks have proved something to me with the way they play defense, with the way that they're getting all their receivers involved. I love Jackson Smith-Njigba, another good week. I think he goes off in New York. Give me the Jacksonville or the Seattle Seahawks in this road spot.
Who ends up winning that NFC West?
It's going to be...
Xin chào các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục đi tô màu những bức tranh mà mình yêu thích để gửi tặng.
Attention, Raider Nation. What seemed like a complicated season just became even more challenging. Before we get into the details, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss a single news about our Raiders. A devastating blow has shaken the Las Vegas Raiders. Gardner Minshew, our starting quarterback, will be out for the rest of the 2024 season due to a broken collarbone suffered in the game against the Denver Broncos. As if that weren't enough, Aiden O'Connell, who was the main alternative to lead the offense, is also injured, and his return is uncertain. Medical reports indicate that his recovery could extend into the 2025 season. Coach Antonio Pierce did not hide the seriousness of the situation and mentioned in a press conference, Gardner will not be able to return, and we still don't know if Aiden will be ready. Today, I can say that we have Desmond Ridder for Week 13. Desmond Ridder, the third quarterback in the rotation, will take over. Ridder, 25, had to enter the game against the Broncos without prior preparation after Minshew's injury. Despite the circumstances, he showed character, completing 5 of 10 passes for 64 yards. However, it was not enough to avoid the 19-29 defeat, thus accumulating the 7th consecutive loss for the Raiders. And the storm does not stop here. This Friday, the Raiders will visit the Kansas City Chiefs, current leaders of the AFC West Division with an impressive record of 10-1. In contrast, our Raiders are at the bottom of the table with 2 wins and 9 losses, extending the drought without being division champions to 22 years. Recent history has not been kind to the Raider Nation either. Since 2002 we have only qualified for the playoffs twice. Despite everything, Antonio Pierce praised Ridder's competitive spirit and is confident that he can rise to the occasion at this critical moment. What do you think, fan? Will Desmond Ridder be able to exceed expectations and lead the Raiders through this difficult season finale? Leave us your comments and don't forget to like the video. Your support is essential to continue sharing everything about our Raiders.